Right.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Who's us?
You
Well,
and
me and the
them.
website, All Music Magazine,
Okay.
or
All right.
NYS Music Today.
Good, good.
So you're currently about to go back on tour. You're going to do a couple of dates in New York before hitting Europe and South America, and you're
Yeah.
calling it the Marky Ramone plays all the Ramone hits. So why is
Well, yeah, the 36 classic songs.
the
Yeah.
36 classic song? So why is now the perfect time to go out and do that?
Well, I've been doing it for a while already. I think that it's the season. I usually do it around this time of the year. And I get requests to do this stuff. So I figured do it. A lot of the kids want to hear this stuff, and I enjoy it, and it goes with the season that's coming up, like December, January, and all that. Then after the three shows I do, I'll do one in New York, one upstate New York, and one in Jersey. Then I'll be going to England and South America.
Right. And so speaking of those New York shows, you're playing at the legendary Stone Pony down the shore, the Gramercy
Love
Theater
it.
in the heart of New York City before going upstate. So what's it
Yep.
like to be able to play in your hometown in the tri-state area still?
So it's great. I mean, my fans, my audience are a lot younger, and they mingle with the older fans, which is really cool because it definitely bridges the generation gap. And it's the same people that used to come see the Ramones that are coming to see my band now. Again, like I said, I do 36 classics, and they seem to love it because they keep coming back.
Right. So what's it like playing about 36 songs? Because there's a lot of bands now that only do 15 songs and then call it a night. So 36 seems like a marathon.
Well, a lot of bands should tour more because they'll be able to play 36 songs. I don't think they tour as much as they should, but I kept touring and touring. When we decided to stop, I continued. So it's very easy for me. And also the they're about 2 minutes each. So it's compact. So you put that all together, you have a show that's an hour and 20 minutes, about that.
Right. So setting the scene a little bit and going way back in the 70s, back in New York, some fans might not have known that you were the runner-up to join the New York Dolls at one point. So what
Yeah.
was that conversation like?
Well, I was friends with them because hanging out in the scene. I was in a heavy metal band called Dust, and we were one of the first metal bands in America. But they used to come see my group play, and they liked my playing. So I came down to their audition after their drummer passed away in London, their tour in London, and they needed a drummer. So it was me and Jerry Nolan. Jerry was closer to them. He was basically from the same neighborhood, and he got the job, and I was happy for him because I knew him, and I felt at the end he was the right guy to play with them.
Right.
And we went to a loft. We auditioned, and he got it, and that was it. And then I joined Jane County for a year and a half, and that was a lot of fun. He was really out. She was really outrageous, and had great lyrical content, and the energy was there. It was a very unique individual, and I had to leave the band because I wanted to pursue other kind of musical things. So that's when Richard Hell asked me to join his group, and we formed the Voidoids after he left Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers, after Johnny Thunders left the New York Dolls. So we got together and we did the Blank Generation album.
Gotcha.
which was on the same company as the Ramones. And we started after the album came out. We started touring with the Clash in England. We did a 5-week tour, and then after that, Richard didn't want to tour anymore. So Tommy didn't want to tour. Tommy Ramone, Ramone's first drummer, wanted to produce, and he didn't. He just wasn't cut out to tour as much. So they asked me to join them when he left, and I said, "Okay, let's do it." So they gave me a tape of the first album I recorded with the band and a live show. I had to learn that in 2 weeks. So
Wow.
the first song that I did record with them was "I Want to Be Sedated."
Oh wow, what a first song to really get your feet wet in the ground there.
Exactly. So who knew that was their biggest hit as a single?
Right.
And Blitzkrieg Bop too, and which I didn't do. That was Tommy. But yeah, it was that simple. Thing was, we were with the same record label, so there was no contractual hassles.
Gotcha.
So I just fit in, and that was it. And then I went on to do rock and roll high school.
So, would you say that it was probably a natural progression for you to just bounce around and then eventually fit in with the Ramones since you all were kind of circling around the same scene?
Oh yeah, the CBGBs. We all know each other. We all used to see each other's bands, and there was a closeness. Besides the other Ramones, there was Blondie, Talking Heads, Television, Patti Smith, and all these groups, and we were all different. So we all respected each other's musical tastes,
Right.
and being playing with the Ramones was pretty easy. It was an easy. It was easy getting used to them, playing with them and rehearsing with them. So there were no musical obstacles in my playing. I knew what they were doing. I already was familiar with that kind of style, so it fit in good.
And so you mentioned CBGBs and going now and seeing it as a department store. What was it like in, the 70s, the 80s? Because one day it was Debbie Harry, the next day it was the Ramones or Lou Reed. So what was that like day in and day out?
Well, it was great. It was our home. There was really no place for this kind of genre of music to play. So we were very grateful that Hilly Crystal, who owned CBGB's, let us play there. And you're talking 74, 75. That's when it started. And we honed our skills. So we kept going back and forth playing, and more people started coming. The word got out, and the bands that did play there got tighter and tighter and tighter. And eventually, all of us got too big to play there. So we had to move on to other venues that were able to house the extra people. But CBGB's was great, but the area was pretty funky. There were homeless people, unfortunately. The city was downtrodden. There were a lot of strikes. There were a lot of gangs, uh, and we had a place to go. Instead of being in a gang, we were in a band.
Right, so definitely a different New York City than now with all the fashion stores and all the
Uh,
designer stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, like everywhere that I go and where I play, there's gentrification everywhere.
Right.
And that's the way it is. You can't stop it. Things change. But there's good things and bad things about it.
Right.
You was there a charm during the 70s? Yeah, there's a certain charm. When you look at at certain movies of that era, like French Connection. Even when you watch that police series, Kojak, you can see what New York was really like
Right.
when they go around it. You know, that was before gentrification. And again, there was a certain charm. There were no cameras. There were no barriers. There was, this seemed things. There was more of a freedom.
Right. Right.
More freedom.
And so now you have your own group, the Marky Ramones punk rock Blitzkrieg. So what's it
Well,
like?
yeah, Punk Rock Blitzkrieg is my radio show on
Gotcha.
Sirius XM.
So what's it like to be, the leader of the band? Because you came into the Ramones and you became the drummer, but now, you're the head honcho. You're the boss. So what's it like finding players to come join your band?
Well, I didn't have to do any more looking. I had them for a while. I went through a lot of people, but I found the right ones. It took time, but they were all good. But the guys that I play with now really get it. They grew up on the Ramones. They love the Ramones, and I'm very happy with my band members. I would have them at rehearsals. We would rehearse the whole set. No stopping, 1, 2, 3, 4, rapid fire session into each song. And that was it. They were able to do it physically. It's a physical thing too. It's not just play a song, you stop, you start talking, tuning. And I really didn't like that when I saw bands do that. Drinking water on the stage, which is fine for other groups, but not this group. And they got it, which I was very happy for.
Right. And so after all these years, you've still stuck around with music, whether it was with the Ramones or Teenage Head or even a stint in the Misfits. What has kept you playing all these years and kept going?
Well, the love of drumming. The love of drumming, which I started not professionally, but as an interest, as a hobby when I was 12 years old. And I continued. And before I even joined the Ramones, I had 5 albums out already. Different genres of music, though. And being the band leader, I look at as us as 4 individuals who equal. Each one's a friend. Each one participates in making decisions. And it's a democratic thing. There's no, well, I want this or else. I don't believe in that. I'm not that kind of guy anyway.
Right. So what's that decision like making when all right, so we're going to play the 36 hits. How can we get each song that all the fans want to hear?
Well, when I toured, when I was in the Ramones, I brought 2 videos with me, video cameras, a Sony and a Nikon.
Yeah.
I taped most of the shows. I did 1,700 shows with the Ramones. So once I had the videos, I would watch them. I would see the reaction of the audience to each song. Then I would pick the songs that got the best reaction, and then I would put them in my band and use that to have compiled a set list.
Gotcha. So is there 1 or 2 songs in there that you would never think that a fan would have or fans would have great reactions to that you play and you're like, wow, we haven't played that in 30 years and they really want to hear the song?
Well, there's so many songs that, it would take hours and hours and hours. So you really got to pick the ones that the fans react to the most. I could do a B-side toy,
Right.
or just a B-side songs. But I really think when I did start going to shows, it's a little hard for me to go now because people know who you are, and they want autographs and photos, which I understand. It's if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. But it distracts attention from what you're looking at as the band is on the stage performing. and it's a little hard sometimes to be at a show. But when I did go to shows, I liked bands that played songs that I knew.
Right.
That was important to me, and that's what I do.
Gotcha. Because I feel like nowadays,
Belongs.
right, I feel like nowadays there's so many bands that I want to play the most obscure songs and the fans are going to pay to see it. But if you're seeing the Beatles, you want to hear All My Life and Revolution and not Rocky Raccoon and Octopus's Garden. That's personally how I feel.
Well, Octopus, I loved, in fact, Octopus is Gone, and I did a remake of it. You can get it on download on your favorite musical, downloads. But I Ramones it up because I feel it's a very positive song, and that it's like, oh, I got to get, I want to get away, I want to get out of my situation. That's what
Right.
Octopus Garden's about. But I Ramones it up, and it came out pretty good. But I would play that if I was in the Beatles.
Okay.
Ringo sang that.
Right.
And Ringo was the guy who kind of started me out
Right.
when I was a little boy. When I saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was a variety show. Uh, and the Beatles were on. Very famous. I think 76 million people tuned in for that show.
Right. The start of that British invasion.
Oh yeah, a lot of it was, they're the best. They were the
Right.
best.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, when the Ramones wrapped up, it was reported that you played about 1,700 shows across
Yeah.
two stints with the band. What made those 1,700 shows so memorable?
To be able to do it, to as time went on, we got certain rewards. More people came. We saw other other punk bands trying to imitate us and copy us and dress like us, and we said, hey, we got something going here. A lot of bands are influenced by us. So that was one thing that kept us going too. That's one of the reasons why we stuck together. And then, of course, the other awards, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the
Right.
first punk band to be in there, the Grammy. We weren't together at that point, but we later, once we got those awards, we looked at each other and said, "Hey, we did the right thing,"
Right.
you know. And just playing with the band, going up on the stage, seeing the kids having a great time, giving it all you got, seeing other countries, the cities of other countries that we played in. And that's what I always loved to do, was to tour and visit other countries that you would only see on postcards when there were postcards.
Right.
So that's what kept me going.
Gotcha. And so moving ahead a little bit and looking into your calendar a bit, on the 17th, you're actually going to be in my neck of the woods at Paramus, but you're doing something that I find is really interesting for artists to do. You're doing an evening with Marky Ramone, a Q&A, drum demonstrations, and auctioning some items off. Why do that? Why like give back and do a really intimate evening?
Well, I always give the charities. I did one a while back, a couple of months ago, for autism, and I just feel that you got to give back. You have to. Uh, and that's something dear to me. When I see a lot of these kids or individuals where they can't physically control their movements, and I'm playing the drums, it makes me feel kind of like, hey, the more, if more people give and more I give, etc., maybe one day they'll find a way to cure all this. So that's one of the things I'm part of. And I give to schools instruments, like with charities like that.
Right.
Just I just got endorsed by a drum company called Ludwig, I was with a lot of different drum companies, but Ludwig I always liked.
Right.
So we're going to do something to give instruments to schools because a lot of the music programs stopped, because of financial situations, or a lot of the schools felt it wasn't necessary. But a lot of kids want to learn instruments.
Right.
So that's another thing I'm involved with too.
So what's it like to be able to give back like that, to donate musical items, whether it's instruments or sheet music, to the next generation of artists?
Right. It hopefully it'll inspire them to maybe join a band or an orchestra, read music. It gives them something to do instead of just being on the phone all day or a computer. You can meet other people who have the same interests. So it helps the brain, and it's a physical thing too. But it's a good thing because it's something that a kid or anybody who wants to learn an instrument may eventually make a living out of too.
Right, right. So most recently you wrote your own book back in 2015, so a different avenue than music. What was it like to be able to walk down memory lane and start putting your memories down into a book, thinking, will the readers want to read this? Will my fans really want to hear what happened? What's that process like?
Well, you got to be honest with everything. That's important. I taped everything I did video wise with a lot of the bands I was in. So and I have a good memory, and everything in that book's for real. And the thing is that before my father died, he read the book. Before I wrote it, he told me make sure that you put everything in there that's true because you have to live with it.
Right.
So I did. It was the number three best selling punk uh, book when it came out there, and there was a lot of history in that. So because I was in a lot of different bands, the punk scene, CBGBs, touring with the other Ramones, a lot of stuff. So I that was the outcome. That was the result. The book. I think it's over 400 pages,
Wow.
and I have some good photos in there. So it took a while. It took a couple of years to do, but I persevered. I continued, and it's still kind of going.
Right. Did you enjoy going back into those memories, into those boxes and picking everything out and writing about it, or did you find it a little challenging at times?
Well, you're confronting things that are very truthful. Sometimes, the truth can hurt, but you gotta pass that by and just say it's a book, it's real, and you got to do it.
Right.
I mainly wanted to write about the music, write about what it was like being in bands, what you have to do. You have to rehearse a lot. You have to, if you're going to do it and you're serious, you got to make it your life.
Right.
And that's what the book was really about. For me, when I was in high school, I had to go to night school and summer school while I was rehearsing with the bands I was in before I graduated. But the first band I was in, Dust, I was still in high school.
Right.
And it was very hard for me to rehearse, go to night school, summer school at the same time. And but I did it
Right.
because I knew I had something. So I continued, and now here we are.
Right. Exactly. So thank you so much for being able to sit down with me and talk to me today. I really appreciate
Well,
it.
come to the show.
Absolutely. Was there anything else I didn't touch on or bring up that maybe you want to add in the last couple of minutes here?
Yeah, hey ho, let's go.
Right? Absolutely. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. I'll see you there.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.